The Boston Celtics reached the All-Star break with the fourth best record in the league, and they did it without Jayson Tatum for the entire season. That is not a small detail. That changes the expectations around this team. With the Eastern Conference wide open and the possibility of Tatum's return still on the table, one central question is growing louder inside the organization and among fans. How will Brad Stevens fill the open roster spots without pushing this team back over the luxury tax? Before we break it down, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the hype button if you care about serious Boston Celtics analysis with urgency and real information. This is where you need to be. There is a lot happening behind the scenes. The trade for Nikola Vucevic brought attention to the human side of the business. Relocation, temporary housing, family decisions during the school year. All of that matter. A team can place a veteran in a hotel for several weeks. Some players even choose to stay there for the remainder of the season. These are not small adjustments. They affect preparation, routine, and performance. Vucevic is on an expiring contract worth $19 million this season. That reality impacts every personal decision. During the break, players are not formally banned from facility, but staff members also receive time off. Film study becomes individual work. Joe Mazzulla has already made it clear that Vucevic is putting in extra hours. That signals professionalism, but while that adjustment is important, it is not the core issue. The real pressure is financial strategy. Boston is currently under the tax line. That gives flexibility, but it also creates a narrow path. On February 19th, the Celtics must return to at least 14 players on the roster. That deadline forces action. Brad Stevens, alongside Mike Zarin and Dave Lewin, has already modeled every scenario. 10-day contracts are likely. Rookie minimum deals are possible. A late-season veteran signing cannot be ruled out. Every move must protect flexibility while preserving playoff depth. Here is the key. The Anthony Simon for Nikola Vucevic trade unexpectedly opened a window to remain under the tax without weakening the core. That was not accidental. That was calculated. Stevens did not create open spots without already mapping the solution. The question is timing. Does he stagger 10-day contracts to maintain breathing room? Does he wait for the buyout market to stabilize? Or does he strike early to secure a defensive specialist before the East tightens even more? Vucevic may come off the bench to protect defensive matchups, especially in pick-and-roll coverage. Neemias Queta has been steady as a starter, but the bigger storyline is roster construction, not starting lineup. Boston has positioned itself as a contender without its franchise star. Now Stevens must complete the puzzle without crossing a financial line that could trigger long-term penalty. The margin is thin, the deadline is real, and the East is watching. So here is the question that defines this stretch. Will Brad Stevens' short-term contract to survive the number, or is he preparing a final strategic addition that changes the ceiling of this team before the playoffs begin? Jaylen Brown put numbers on the table, and the reaction across the league was immediate. After a 124-105 win over Chicago, Brown led a Celtics team that now sits at 35 wins and 19 losses. He finished that game with 24 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds, shooting 45% from the field. But it was not the box score that sparked debate. It was what he posted next. Brown shared a graphic comparing this season to last year at the All-Star break. Same type of record, similar seed, comparable offensive and defensive rating. A net rating that shows Boston is not far from where it was when Jayson Tatum was fully healthy. His message was simple: proud of this group, looking forward to the second half. Go C's. No direct reference to Tatum, no criticism, just data. But fans read between the lines, and here is where it gets serious. The perception forming online is that the Celtics are proving they do not need to rush Tatum back. Some are going further. They are asking whether this team, under Brown's leadership, has shown it does not depend on Tatum the way many assume. That is a strong statement. Brown is averaging 29.3 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 4.7 assists, shooting 48.3% from the field and 34.8% from three. Those are elite numbers. That is production at an all-NBA level. Tatum is recovering from a ruptured Achilles suffered in last year's playoff. He has started practicing with the G League affiliate and is reportedly weeks away from a potential return. The organization is being cautious, and based on the current standings, they have the leverage to do so. Here is the key point. Brown did not say the Celtics do not need Tatum. He did not attack his teammate, but by highlighting that Boston's record and efficiency metrics are comparable to last season, he introduced a powerful narrative: stability without the franchise star, competitive positioning without rushing a max contract player back onto the floor. This creates pressure, internal and external. If the team keeps winning, the urgency to accelerate Tatum's return decreases. If Brown continues playing at this level, the conversation about leadership shifts. And if Boston enters the playoffs healthy and synchronized, the timing of Tatum's comeback becomes a strategic weapon. So here is the question that now surrounds this team. Are the Celtics quietly proving they can contend without Jayson Tatum? And if that is true, what does it mean for the hierarchy and identity of this franchise when he finally steps back onto the court? All season long, one question has followed the Boston Celtics: when will Jayson Tatum return? After the Achilles injury he suffered in May of last year during the playoffs, every update has carried weight. Now, there is a development that many inside the league are calling a clear indicator that his return is getting closer. Tatum has already taken visible steps forward. He practiced with the Maine Celtics, the G League affiliate, marking 39 weeks since the rupture of his right Achilles. He was assigned, practiced, and immediately recalled. That sequence matters. It shows controlled progression. It shows medical clearance for competitive movement. But Tatum himself has remained cautious. He told ESPN he wants to get it right the first time. He made it clear that practicing does not guarantee a return this season. That hesitation created uncertainty. Fans expected a near-certain comeback. Instead, they heard patience, and patience in a championship window creates tension. Now here is where things shift. According to NBA insider Jake Fisher, the Celtics' decision to trade for Nikola Vucevic before the deadline, moving Anthony Simmons' expiring contract in the process, is being viewed internally as a sign that Boston expects Tatum back for a postseason run. Front offices do not make aggressive structural moves without long-term projection. They calculate timeline. They evaluate risk. They do not act on hope alone. Add to that reports from Shams Charania and Brian Windhorst stating that Tatum has hit significant rehab milestone. The medical progress is real. The roster adjustment is strategic. The timing is aligning. Here is my opinion. The trade was not just about depth. It was about preparation. You do not reshape rotation balance in February if your franchise player is done for the year. You do it if you believe he's coming back, and you want the roster stabilized before he steps onto the floor. But the suspense remains. Tatum continues to say nothing is guaranteed. The organization continues to control the message, and the Eastern Conference standings continue to tighten. So now the urgency increases. If Boston believes Tatum is returning for the playoffs, the next few weeks are critical. Conditioning, timing, chemistry. Every practice rep matters. The real question is no longer if he is progressing. The real question is this: are the Celtics quietly preparing to unleash Jayson Tatum at full strength just in time for the postseason push? And if that happens, is the rest of the conference ready for it? If you want updates with urgency and real analysis, like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the hype button right now. The return of Jayson Tatum is getting closer, and this story is far from over.